So yes, the next item that we need to discuss is basically about the promotion, or people also say it is the integrated marketing communication. Okay, so the uh, the promotion is essentially a communication. Okay, is the communication. Okay, so because when it comes to promotion, we actually try to move something to the other people, to the parties. That's what we mean by promotion. It comes from the word promoviere. Okay, that means to move forward. Okay, so moving forward one thing to other people basically means we need to convince the other people. Okay, so in other words, we also need to communicate to the other people. Okay, now the thing that I would like to highlight is actually about the tools that we need to consider when it comes to promotional activities. Okay, so there are a few things in here. Do not want to discuss about the communication process. You can go through it yourself, but there are 5 tools that you need to look at when it comes to promotional activities. Okay, advertising, sales promotion, personal selling, public relations, and direct digital marketing. Okay, so advertising is actually the probably the traditional form of the communication, because that still adopt um, the traditional thoughts when it comes to communication to the consumers, where we actually develop the message, and we send it, we convey the message to the audience. Okay, now in today's business landscape, because of the digital media, we actually have observed that the consumers also have been empowered, because they also own the media, not only the marketers. Okay, so they may communicate back to us. Okay, so therefore we need to also consider that as a trend in the business landscape. Okay, sales promotion, pretty straightforward, I guess. We provide the short-term sales short-term incentive for to achieve a short-term sales increase. Okay, and the other thing is that the other thing I'd like to highlight is uh, the short-term sales incentive in here has become more and more critical for some industries, because they want to engage with the consumers. Okay, at the same time they also offer the engagement of the consumers. Okay, personal selling basically is the reflects the personal presentation by the firm sales force. Okay, so that's what I mean by personal selling. Personal presentation by the performed by the firm sales force. Now, who are they? Who are the sales force in here? Well, they may include anybody meeting the consumers, meeting the customers. Okay, directly, and to make sales, and also to build the relationship with the customers. Okay, public relations basically aims at building the good relationship with the goodwill of the company by providing favorable publicity. Okay, by obtaining favorable publicity. Now, direct digital marketing actually reflects the direct connections with carefully targeted individual consumers. All right, so we use the word targeted individual consumers in here. That means we have to have a list of the consumers or customers that we want to communicate directly. Okay, now out of these 5, okay, we have advertising that is using mass media. We also have personal selling that is basically more into personal presentation, okay, personal interaction with the consumer, and direct digital marketing that use digital media to get engaged with the consumers. Right now, which ones that firm may want to allocate their money? Well, that goes back to the nature of the business. Okay, if the nature of the business basically more into having lots of consumers, okay, then we need to consider using mass media. Therefore, advertising would be the main investments from marketing dollar perspective. Okay, that leads us to business to consumers industry. Okay, but if our customers basically only around 100 probably, okay, but they deliver although we only have 100 consumers, 200 customers, their order size is large. Okay, when they place order, they may place a few $1,000s, or probably a couple $10,000, for instance, okay, in one order. That means since the number of customers are not that many, okay, like in the business to consumer market, then the focus would be more into the personal selling. Okay, use the personal selling team as a major tool to communicate with the customers. Okay, so that is a bit of a brief rules of thumb in terms of making a decision where our money will go. Okay, is that going to be in advertising or in personal selling? Okay, now what about the direct digital marketing? Well, both industries, both B2B and B2C, use them actually. And in this instance, we actually, the B2C marketers actually learn a lot from the B2B marketers in terms of building the relationship at the personal level, because the B2B marketers are quite good in that regards. Okay, building and maintaining the relationship at personal level. Okay, so they also have used the digital media, and then the B2C marketers actually follow that pathway as well to also benefit from the digital media, such as the social media and so on and so forth. Okay, right. So there are the 5 tools. Please analyze them, how you'll use them, or if you don't use them, please also make comment. I'm not going to use this because this is very expensive, or and any other rationale that you can describe. Now, what about the B2B marketers? Are they still using advertising campaign? Yes, they do. In my experience, we also develop product catalog. For instance, we list our products in the customer's catalog to make sure that we still, aside from our websites, we also deal with, we still need to expose our brand, so we build the engagement with the customers. Okay, I'll leave it to your own analysis when it comes to outlining your own promotional mix. Okay, right now let's jump to the. I just want to look at the. The direct digital marketing campaign. Okay. The tools in managing the direct digital marketing campaign. Okay, there are 4 tools that we can use when it comes to setting online marketing campaign. We can create a website, search engine optimized websites. Okay, either a brand website or company website. Okay, then you need to discuss whether it is going to be a company website and we have a specific brand website, or you can include the website in that the company websites. Okay, participate in the search engine marketing. So here you can consider any other search engine to help boosting your profile. Okay, boosting your own websites. Okay, we expect our website to be on the top of the list when it comes to the consumers or customer search. Okay, setting up or participating in the social network. In this instance, we participate in the social media campaign, either Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. Okay, and in my observation, there is a tendency that the B2B industry use the LinkedIn aside from Facebook, and the B2C industry may use Facebook, Instagram. Okay, as more into reaching to the final consumers. Okay, it doesn't mean that the B2B industry B2B organizations don't use Instagram. They also use Instagram. They place their product story using the photos and so on and so forth. Okay, but LinkedIn is LinkedIn is pretty much B2B industries, if you like. And the other one is using emails. You can reach out your target customers through emails as well. Okay, and you can also combine all tools or promotional tools to engage with your customers. Okay, you may want to post something on your website. Hey, we are going to conduct a webinars to discuss about these new techniques in, for instance, new digital printing, because you just launched a new digital technology to print, to offer better printing result for your customers, for instance. Okay, you email the link, you post the link, and then after that you approach them. Following that, you approach them using your personal selling team, for instance. Okay, to make the further connection. Okay, right. So there are the 4 tools in terms of the online marketing, and the reason I discussed that is because the website has the opportunity for us to be expanded. You may need to think about how you adjust your website after you decide, yes, I'm going to expand the business to India, for instance. Okay, so what are you going to do with your website? Okay, are you going to leave it like that, or are you going to adjust it? This is for customers based in India, for instance. This is for our customers based in American region, for instance, or Europe region, for instance, and so on and so forth. Okay, so there may be some adjustment in here as well. Okay, and the same thing for your social media campaign as well, because you want to get the as close as possible. Remember the proximity culture that we also discussed some time ago. You want to show that you are very close to your customers. Okay. All right. Look, this one here, the L'Oreal commercial actually shows you the adjustment that they make. If you compare L'Oreal in their home market in France and L'Oreal in Indian market, for instance, how they manage that, as we discussed when it comes to standardization and adjustment in the international business strategy context. Okay. All right. Any questions, guys?
I'm fine. All fine. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. All right, thank you. All right, now let's move on. Look, this is just a brief overview of the human resources management, because at the end of the day, we also need to consider the who will execute that for us. Okay, who will execute the campaign? The operation for us. Okay, and the business activities need to attract the talent. Okay, select. And manage the employees as well. Okay, so we need to consider the staffing as well when it comes to the human resources aspect of our international operation. Okay, so this is actually about you have the options in terms of staffing. Okay, you can invite the host country national, for instance, to fill the positions. Okay, you can send someone from the parent country national, okay, or you can also hire the third country national, okay. Not so normally this is for the top position, like the CEO or the GM of the company in the host market. They could be someone from any country, not from the parent country, not from the host country national, okay. Each option definitely has pluses and minuses, okay. But the main point is, although we have expatriates in that market, it doesn't mean that we can't develop the culture proximity, culture approach with the local employees. It doesn't mean that way. We have also the opportunity to build that relationship, and in fact, it is one of the key tasks of the new leader in that host market. Okay. And of course, the host, if we hire someone from the host country national, the cost may be lower because you don't need to pay for the housing, for instance. We don't need to relocate the family of the employee to the host market, for instance. Okay, and that also shows communicates a strong message to the employees, hey, you can also be in that top at some point of time. Okay. Right, so that's basically the main ones in terms of the human resources aspects. And of course, after that, you need to get these top executive to consider what kind of organization structure that needs to be set up in the new in the host market. Okay, because and that may be something different to the one that you have in your home market. Okay. And in terms of the institutions, again, staffing, when it comes to staffing, training and development, compensation, performance appraisal, and also labor relations. Again, from theoretical perspective, you may recall that we discussed the institutions-based view. Okay, so here we also need to look at the formal rules, informal institutions like norms and values, for instance, when it comes to the staffing. Okay, so we need to look at, again, as discussed before, how the new leaders in the host market can be quite close in terms of values to the host market, the employees in the host market. Okay, and what kind of training and development and also compensation that we also developed that is also driven by the formal rules that we set up, basically. And from resource-based perspective, we also need to consider the, remember we discussed the RIO concept, whether it is valuable or not, whether it is quite rare or not, okay, when it comes to staffing. At the end of the day, what we expect from our human resources management is to help us building the competitive advantage. Okay, so think about whether the talent that we have is available. That means we talk about the knowledge and skills and also competence. And we also need to look at whether this capacity is quite rare. These guys help us to build, rare competitive advantage, and whether it is going to be imitable, and whether this person can drive all resources in the organization to help building the competitive advantage in the organization. Okay, so there are a few things, guys, in terms of from the human resources aspect. Okay, and if we relate that back to the institutions, institutional theory, and also resource-based theory. Okay, any questions?
Oh, fine. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Okay. Now, if you don't have any question, okay, I just want to have a look at the assessment briefly. Okay. So to date we have discussed that. Okay. Now, one thing though, just briefly about the business objective. I just want to cover that here briefly. Okay. We discussed the introduction, I believe, is quite pretty straightforward, and macro environmental analysis, we discussed that weeks ago. Just summarize it, and if you need, I would also recommend you to make the adjustment based on the feedback given to you in terms of macro environmental analysis and also micro environmental actors. Okay, and entry strategy or entry mode, you discussed that. Okay, either greenfield operation or joint venture or acquisition. Okay, SWOT analysis, we discussed that. I think it is pretty straightforward. Segmentation, target market analysis. Remember, if your business is B2B, use the different variables. If your business is B2C, use the 4 segmentation variables and also the Roy Morgan value segment. Okay. Now, the business objectives. Okay, please use SMART principle. Financial objective may include sales, profit, okay, or RI if you like. Look, RI, there are some concerns that people raise in terms of using the RI, return on investments. Okay, it is still popular. It is popular because it is simple to calculate. You only need 2 numbers: net return and the investment cost. All right, with those 2 numbers, you get the RI. Okay, so that's reason number 1 why RI is quite popular. And the second reason why RI is quite popular is that the fact that people like to see the ratio between their effort and their return. Okay, right, if I give that effort, okay, let's say I spend that much, how much do I get as return? So people like to see that in, especially in percentage, okay? So again, it is simple. Let's say if we invest our money in buying share, okay, let's say we invest $1 million, okay, $1 million, okay, and we sell the share again, okay, and we get, let's say we get $1,100,000. All right. What is our net return? Simple. Our net return is $100,000. Okay. And what is the RI? Well, the RI here is actually 10%. $100,000 divided by $1.1 million. Okay. So we get 10% RI. Okay. Now, as mentioned to you before, are there any issues with the using RI? Yes, there are issues with RI. Okay. First, from accounting perspective, it is using accounting profit term. Okay, so when we ship the products to the customers assign the delivery order. Okay, that means we have made sales. Okay, and our sales rep or our delivery team comes back to office. Right, they report that to us. They report the delivery order to us. We can book. We have made sales. We can record that as revenue since we know the cost of the products. We can calculate the profit. Okay. Now, what about if the customers cannot pay? Okay, that is an issue from business financial perspective. Okay, that RI is not directly linked to the cash flow that we receive. All right. The other issue is that if you look at that 10%, yes, we gain that. Okay, after how many time? After how much time? After how many years? Right. It doesn't specify. Normally, company would have the policies to outline that. Okay, so we sell the in this instance we sell the share again and we get a $1.1 million. Right, how many years? After how many years? Right, if we do that after 1 year, yeah, that's good because time safe deposit will be in markets like Asia we only have 2-3% interest rates, but so if we can get 10% in a year, that is fantastic. Okay. What about if we bought that share in year 2000 and we just sell it now, 10 years after 18 years, after 18 years, right? So that is something that you need to consider. Okay, right. So that's financial metrics. Non-financial metrics include a number of tools such as the brand equity. Okay, like brand awareness. Okay, brand awareness or brand image. Image like as what? Okay, image as, let's say, as being quality leader or being innovator or the innovative company, for instance. Okay, or we can also use the customer relationship. Okay, how many customers that we retain? How many customers that we retain, for instance? Okay. Oops, sorry. How many this is about customer relationship, okay, where you can also talk about the customer acquisition, how many customers that we get, how many new customers that we get, okay, how many customers that we retain, okay, so this is about customer retention, okay. So B2B marketers would normally look at that at customer level, individual customer level perspective. This customer purchased that from us, okay, would they come back or not? Okay, or would they switch to another vendor? Because if you lose a customer, especially in B2B industry, it's hard for you to gain them back. Okay, and you can also use digital metrics. Okay, like number of hits, for instance. Okay, or conversion ratio. Okay, lead to sales. Right? How many people visit my website, and out of those, how many people make the inquiry, and out of those who make the inquiry through my personal selling team, how many of them place the order? Okay. Now, use SMART principle. That is the second thing that we need to include in our objectives. Okay. The SMART principles in here. Look, you need to show the number, the quantity, and also time. Okay. For specific objectives that you want to achieve. Okay, quantity. Okay, so for instance, we say to achieve X $1 million sales, okay, in year 1 of our expansion, let's say year 2000 something, okay. To achieve X $1 million sales, sorry, I forgot to put sales, okay. So as an example, or to build brand ABC as innovative, okay, in year 1, so in 2000 something, provided we do survey, provided we conduct the survey, okay. So I guess that's a couple of examples that you can also consider, okay. Right, now marketing strategies and programs, okay, this includes the positioning, okay, so please show your positioning map, okay. Your positioning map should include your brand and competitors' brand, okay, the major competitors' brand, okay. Look at the one that look at the example in the in presentation 3, okay. Ideally, look, you can use price and quality to map the brands, but ideally you use the attributes related to the customer's needs, okay. And please write the positioning statement, okay. There are 2 things, there are 2 tasks under positioning. The positioning statement, please use the formula to what target market with what need. Okay. Our brand is what concept. This concept in here is actually the one that we want to promise to deliver, right? With what points of differentiation. Okay, let's say, yeah, we get that we are affordable. What's the point of differentiation? Well, we actually have managed the price to be low because of our efficiency, for instance. Okay, so that's a bit of ID. All right. Now, marketing mix variables. The first one is product strategy. Okay, please ensure that you use the 3 levels of product concept. Okay, pricing strategy. I think you need to look at the new product pricing strategy. Product mix pricing strategy, okay, and price adjustment strategy, okay. And then we look at the placement. From placement perspective, please look at the channel strategy and distribution coverage strategy. So they are the main ones. If you can also discuss the logistical aspect, that's brilliant. And from promotion perspective, I look at the 5 tools. Okay, we look at the advertising, sales promotion, public relations, personal selling, and direct digital marketing. Okay, and the operation, please focus on your HR management. How will you get that? Okay, I understand that this is the new entry. Okay, and risk management. Okay, so we discussed the risk management aspect some time ago. Okay, and conclusion. That's basically the one that you also need to consider. Okay, right. Ensure that you include the key findings. In this instance, if you look at the above, okay, this is about the entry strategy. So you want to discuss about your target market, right? You need to include the specific target market in your conclusion, your strategy, your objective, your target market, and strategy in your conclusion. All right. Right. Any questions, guys?
Oh, fine. Thank you. And thank you for explaining a little bit more about the assignment. It's very good. So just thank you.
Thanks a lot. Greg, how about you, mate?
No, that's very good. Thanks, Eddie. I guess, will you be calling later, or will we have some time now to discuss the assignment?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Right, brilliant. If you don't have any more questions, I'll just end the forum now, and I'll see you next week. Next week, I'll not discuss any contents because as far as the content perspective, we have finished. We have covered all topics. Okay, we'll just do the consultation next week. Okay, because on Friday, week 12, the assessment is due. Okay, all right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Have a very good weekend. See you. Bye.
Bye.